Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today is, if I had to do it all over again, would I, as far as getting into automotive and becoming a mechanic? Short answer, no. Hell no. Okay, so think about it though. And I'm going to go into some details here of some things that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I even had certain points in my life where I had thought about it extensively. Now, I've been doing this for about 10 years now, and I gotta tell you, it has had its ups, it's had its downs, and all of which I'd probably never even start a YouTube channel had it not been for my interest as being a mechanic or getting into the automotive field. All that aside though, there are probably more good days than bad days, but still, I'm not enjoying what it is that I'm doing as much as I once or used to do. There's plenty of things that I wanted to be from a young adolescent teenager, getting up into my 20s, getting up to my late 20s when I finally made the decision to go to school to become an automotive mechanic, but that was never my plan A, that was my plan B. I didn't know where life was going to take me, and I didn't know I was going to undergo a divorce and have to relocate and have to start all over. I actually did at one point in time try to make motion and get enrolled in it was almost 4-year college program to go into cinematography, do more with editing, audio overlay, film, possibly get into producing, maybe even the acting side of things. So I was all lined up to go to school, but at the end of the day, when I found out how much they wanted and financial aid wouldn't have covered the cost for any of it, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, having to make a decision. Well, I don't want to work fast food. I have this 2-year degree for automotive. Maybe I'll do that for a little bit. I'll save up some money. I'll get to a point where I can move on and do something different. That time never came, and now I'm, in my mid-30s. And there's no turning back at this point, so it is what it is, and that's what I have to do to make a living, to take care of my family, my children, etc. Make sure I can afford my day-to-day. Now, that being said, the pay for mechanics nowadays, it's still on a swing, okay? Some people work based on flat rate, some are hourly. Let's face it, when you start out as a mechanic, it's not always sunshine and gravy. Sometimes you're starting at minimum wage or sometimes under minimum wage plus commission, and you only hope to make above minimum wage in order to take care of some of the more expensive things in this industry, like tool purchasing. Now, a lot of us, we grow a love and a passion towards having the right tool for the right job. You might become a collector, you might not. Maybe you borrow a lot of things, but when you get into the real world, you're not really borrowing a lot for very long. Eventually, you're going to have to buy it. You have to buy far less tools at a dealership than you do the independent shop, that's for sure, because they provide you all the specialty tools, but it's a constant earn, spend, and eventually it kind of equates out to a minimum wage job almost. So unless you're pulling in side work, unless you have another source of income, it can definitely just wear on you overall, not financially but physically, because you're physically exerting yourself. You have to become a contortionist, learn how to twist your body and get into tight spots to do things. But and then of course, like the financial side, of course you have to buy tools, and there's always a tool that might help you get the job done a little bit faster, to make those hours, to hopefully make more money. That's always the goal, right? But then the memory concept behind it, you have to remember where everything goes. You got like a 1,000-piece puzzle. Some of these things you have to take apart the entire wiring loom, disconnect everything, drop the subframe, remove the transmission, put it all back together, and hopefully somehow it all goes back together. And you'll get used to the nuts and bolts of things until you get into more electrical and diag stuff, where you have to start reading schematics and wiring pinout locations and things like that. Sometimes they're mirrored images and they're not always accurate. Sometimes the wiring that they have and they give you, where it has a color corresponded tracer with it, isn't always exactly what's on the vehicle. There are recalls where they change connectors and the wires change colors, so you have to go up farther in the loom. There's all kinds of headaches that are associated with being an automotive technician or mechanic. So if I had to go back over and do it all over again, would I? No, absolutely not. There's so many different things out there that I wanted to be growing up. I wanted to be a jet pilot. Well, I thought I could get into that later after I joined the military. I started off in the Navy, thought I can get into that and go to school in the evenings. That always didn't pan out with the in and out of sea trips that we had to do. And we went to dry dock. I was able to go take a couple of classes, but then we were getting ready to go back out to sea again. So it really kind of put a damper on that. I know you could take a couple classes here and there, but you got to get it approved from your chain of command too, based on when you're going to be out. And then I switched over. I went from blue to green, and I got into the Army fatigues, started doing more stuff like that. I've seen guys attempt to bring their college books out into the field, and every time they had downtime, get into it to try to study it, to move on with the next chapter or the section, to prepare for a test, and that doesn't always pan out. So if you're a reservist and going to school, it is extremely difficult to keep up on your studies while you're in the field. It's raining, there's sleet, there's snow, there's dirt, there's muck. It gets into the books. It can damage them. Stuff can get spilt on them. Your camelback that breaks. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that could happen, which make it extremely difficult to take college courses as a reservist. But if you're not utilizing that as a reservist, then you're wrong. You should be trying to utilize that school benefit while you're in, if you're currently in. If you're not, and this doesn't pertain to you, don't worry about that. But thinking about it, even from a civilian standpoint, and having to go to school, having a family, having kids, trying to work a part-time or full-time job, taking out student loans if that's what you want to do. Maybe you have some money set aside already previously that you saved while you were in high school. All this stuff just to try to find a career job. Some people don't agree with going to college. Some say go right into work. That doesn't always pan out either. Some of these guys that become doctors and things like that, they got 8 years of schooling that they have to pay for somehow. It's not easy. Picking a career path itself is not easy. Being a mechanic is, well, it's kind of a one hand washes the other. You know, you make money, you spend money. So it's just like, there are plenty of other things out there that I wish I could have done. You know, firefighter, paramedic, you know, get into film. It would have been cool to do that. You know, there was so many different things. An architect, thought I wanted to be an architect there for a little bit. Draw out schematics and lay out, you know, blueprints and diagrams and things like that. Then I wanted to be an electrician for a little while. I did some other trade work with solar field. I did some stuff with construction and framing and roofing, but it's nice to use your hands to know that you worked hard for the money that you got, but it doesn't always pan out to the point where it feels like you really gained much as a result. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say in this video. It's a short rant, but look, if you're getting ready to get into the trade work, you are going to have to purchase tools at some point in time. Maybe you decide to become your own contractor. At some point, you have to pick and choose expense cost over income, and you kind of got to weigh it and if it's going to be worth it. I know some people that have really, really good desk jobs, and the most money they have to spend is maybe $100 for a suit and tie to sit at this desk, hack on the computer, and make a good living, to the point where they don't have any expenditures unless they have a house, this, that, and the other. Of course, you're going to buy a few things here and there, or maybe you buy the occasional tool to work on your own car as a hobby or something like that. But most people in general that have those kind of jobs, they don't like using their hands. They'd rather pay somebody, and they make enough money to where they don't have that many expenditures, and it works itself out. So you got to think about this kind of stuff before you start getting into the trades work. Is it really going to be for you? Now, I know it can be fulfilling from time to time, but it can also definitely be draining, and you can get bored of it really, really quick. That's my 2 cents on the subject. I thought I'd go ahead and answer that question. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. I hope you're enjoying your work week, and we'll see you guys next time. Deuces.